I've got an awesome project for you today. We're redoing the basketball hoops at my kids' school. They're super weathered, they're super old, and rather than pay a couple $1,000s to replace them, we're just gonna make them look brand new with some paint. Let me show you the project. Here's the backboards. As you can see, they're aluminum. So we're gonna get those painted and make them look really good. There's the rims, and these are what the poles look like. And for the poles, I was asked not to paint them because they're galvanized and they're probably gonna peel if you try to paint them. So I'm just gonna sand down the rust and put a cold galvanization on them, actually, by Rust-Oleum. So it might not hold up for years and years and years, but even if it comes back off, it's gonna be the same color as what's there. And if it rusts through, it rusts through, but they'll look really good for a couple years. We got the last one we're about to take down. It's super difficult. These stainless steel bolts are actually all stripped, so we have to break them off, and we can't get a socket in there. So anyway, we're gonna take this down. We just take the bolts out and slide them right down onto those forks and then drop them to the ground. It works out really, really good.
And this is how I got everything home so I could work on it.
Okay, now the rims need done. You're just trying to get them scuffed up, get the surface rust off, make them look dull so that the paint sticks. I'm gonna use so my first step is hit them with the angle grinder, you know, where it's easy to get to. And then all these weird little angles in here like this. I've got myself a Harbor Freight spot blaster that I bought and some black aluminum oxide media that we're hitting it with. It's a 70 grit. So
all right, to start out, I'm just hitting these with a 60 grit flap disc on my 4.5-inch angle grinder and just taking the surface rust off. And then here I'm hitting it with a 70 grit sandblaster that I had from Harbor Freight just to get into all those cracks and crevices. Obviously, you want to clean this thing up when you're done, get all the dust off of it, and then you can move on to painting. This is the first paint I used. It's a rusty metal primer from Rust-Oleum. And I did 2 coats of this, let them dry, you know, whatever the recommended time was in between. And then this is actually Kubota's OEM paint. This is like an acrylic enamel, similar to like a farm and tractor implement paint you could get from Rust-Oleum. It's really heavy duty and nasty, so it should last a long time outside. And then this is the process I use for the backboards from right to left. Angle grind, clean them up, a self-etching primer, a primer sealer, and then some Benjamin Moore Ultra Spec paint. All right, and I'm finally getting to the backboards here. First, I just cleaned them up to get like the dirt and grime and just the nastiness from being outside for so long off of them just before I started sanding them. And then the next step that I took, I started angle grinding them. This is a 60 grit flap disc. I used about 1.5 discs on each board, and I just got, you know, the surface kind of roughed up and so that it would accept paint a little bit better. And this took a while to do, but anyway, once that was done, I cleaned them off, got all the dust off of them, scrubbed them up really good to get them ready for some paint. And then the first type of paint that I used is a self-etching primer. This kind of eats into the metal a little bit and really makes the paint stick. So this is what was recommended to paint aluminum. And so I did 2 coats of that on the back, and then I flipped them over and did the front. And then the second paint that I'm using here is a primer sealer. This kind of just seals that self-etching primer and gives you a nice surface for painting. And then the backs are so hard, you can't really like roll the backs because of all the weird texture. So I used my airless sprayer from Harbor Freight with a Graco gun, and I sprayed the black Ultra Spec paint on them. And I was, you know, working at night because I was in a crunch trying to get these things done. But anyway, once that was done, I just did a really light sanding here with some 1000 grit sandpaper, and then I cleaned it off with some spray away glass cleaner just to kind of clean them up. And then I just rolled on the Ultra Spec with like a foam roller, and it did leave a little bit of a texture, which actually looked kind of cool in the end. So I left it, and so I did 2 coats of that paint. And then the last step here was just to draw on the pattern for the backboard, and then I used a nice pin striping tape here. I think it's by 3M, and just taped off the areas to get it ready for paint. All right, to get really nice lines on a textured surface like this, it's going to take 3 coats of paint. The first coat of paint, you want to paint with the color that this thing is. Hopefully you have that color. And if you paint with it, it kind of dries and builds a barrier at the tape in the texture, and then you paint your color on and it gives you a nice cut line. Here I'm painting on the white that's actually bleeding underneath the tape a tiny bit, but then when it dries and you paint the blue, it won't bleed under the tape. So again, I've got the white already painted. It makes that nice barrier so you get a nice cut line.
We're gonna paint blue, let it dry, paint another coat, let it dry, peel the tape. And we're gonna have a cool looking backboard finally.
Nothing special here, just painting 2 coats of the Benjamin Moore Ultra Spec paint.
This is the part I've been waiting for. We're gonna peel the tape while the paint's still wet. You gotta be really careful you don't drop it on any of the white parts. But anyways, we're gonna peel the tape a little bit slow. You don't wanna peel the paint off, but let's do it.
One thing to note is I did try painting this blue without doing this method and it bled really bad, but you'll see here, I'll zoom in. Using this method, look at that, the lines are literally perfect. So I definitely recommend doing this base coat and then your color method if you can.
Finally at the last step. My wife got these stencils out of Cricut vinyl, adhesive vinyl, and we're gonna do the same thing. White paint and then 2 coats of blue. White paint will kind of seal these edges, 2 coats of blue, and we'll be all done.
And this is an example of what happens when your kid finds out they're going to be on YouTube.
He's peeling the table, peeling the table. Ooh, 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 ooh. Look at this little trash can. He's pulling the table. Ba, ba, ba. They can hear me.
Yeah.
Ba, da, dee, da, 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 dee, da. Oh. He's pulling that sticker off. I think it's a sticker.
It's called a stencil.
Oh, it's a stencil.
Bam.
Wait.
I didn't get any footage of us putting them back up, but here's the result. And we just put these back up with stainless steel hardware using that tractor. I put a couple new nuts on them, and they really just came out wonderful. Made the playground just look so much, just kind of refreshed and look so much nicer. And me and my kid shot a couple hoops on them, and they work great. If you liked my video, I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up and liked it. It helps out my channel. And I put links to all the different stuff I use in this video down in the video description if you want to check out any of those. Thanks for watching.